Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion.
Hello once again and welcome to Poetry in Motion Sunday. I'm Craig Lewis and you're watching episode 81. As we begin with my first poem, this was called They Don't Teach It in a School. How was British wrong for me to claim? May I remind ya, your knives and forks were made in China. Don't see this as me attacking ya, but most things in museums came straight from Africa. If you go far back enough, you'd gain more insight. As well as black, some slaves have been white. Black people were in Britain before the government invite. In 1948, these forts are turned to food, brought to you via plate. The facts are like pages ripped from books to shed some weight. Now what's perceived as truth is merely clickbait. Hence why back in school for me was hard to sit straight. My textbook filled with rhymes like I was working on a mixtape. There's 6 ways plus 5,900,099,994 ways to die for all the more. I'd rather keep my head high than to close the door on history from way before, because the power is the knowledge, they don't teach it in a school. Moving on to my second poem, this was called The Robbinswood Inn. Thick smoke rise into the air, hands clasped to say a prayer for the lives the Lord did spare in that fire at a pub that happened to be near. Although damage was done, it wasn't so severe, hence condolences were spared. Still a landlord's in despair, to be he rightfully should, for this was his livelihood. Now left with the memories of when the times were good, locals gathering to socialize and let their hair down. Where people get along and no one's there to stare down, like the hoity-toity toss trying to get the point across, like intruders at a fairground. In the inn the days were happier. They say the fire's cause started with a gas canister inside a caravan, now destroyed along with the people carrier, both parked within the midst. This place was more than just a building that they gathered to get pissed. And moving on to my third and final poem of the day, this one is called The Doctor Told Them Stay Hydrated. They once went to a hotel and glimpsed inside the kitchen, appalled with what they saw. There were birds, wild cats jumping tables, and flies galore. Might I add, this was a 5-star hotel, not a 4. I guess because it's overseas to UK laws, they are exempt, and thus they made themselves available to host this large event. The bride and groom had tied the knot. The wedding party had consumed some food that didn't hit the spot, but led them to the bathroom. Hurriedly their feet would trot. For days they were left feeling ill. Picture traveling so far and not receiving decent meals. The tickets that they bought they found early in a decent deal. It's not like they could leave for home. The dates on tickets they can't leave until. Stuck in a foreign land where the GP doesn't speak your language. Maybe in their lifetime they've never heard such thing as bacon sandwich. Such plight is understated. And when they came back home, the doctor told them to stay hydrated. And there you have it, your poetry fix for me this week. I hope you enjoyed. Until next week, short and sweet. Take care.
Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday poetry in motion. Poetry in motion, Sunday.